Just begin by the recent released Mo Ibrahim report puts Ethiopia in the bottom half of governance ranking across the continent. In May, the Committee to Protect Journalists put Ethiopia as #1 on the list of 10 countries where press freedoms have deteriorated over the past year. And the State Department's country report on human rights in 2006 states that there have been unlawful killings and beatings, abuse and mistreatment and detainees of opposition supporters by security forces and arbitrary arrests, detentions, particularly of those suspected of sympathizing with or being members of the opposition. You continue to, about Ethiopia in general, what is your assessment of the state of democracy in Ethiopia today, and in what way could it be improved? What exactly, if anything, are we asking the Ethiopians to do in terms of accountability for the deaths of nearly 200 people at the hands of the security forces in 2005?
Thank you, Congressman Payne. My assessment of democracy in Ethiopia today is that it's a work in progress, and that's true of many countries in Africa, and certainly many countries that are starting this process of building the institutions necessary to create the real foundation for democracy. As I said in my testimony, Ethiopia had an extremely open process, a very open lead up to the 2005 elections, and a very disappointing post-election civil society and NGO activities. It is not, in fact, on military assistance to Ethiopia. In fact, of our peace and security, put it in the context of the Mo Ibrahim Index, you will find that most of the countries that have insurgencies operating in their country, that are in a situation in which their neighbors are supporting civil war and insurgency, will have lower rankings on their democratic index and their human rights index because they're in a situation of fighting insurgencies and military operations. What are we trying to do with the government?
Isn't it true that the OLNF prevented people from the Islamic Courts Union that were trying to flee the violence in Somalia from coming into the Ogaden? They said they did not want to have them involved, that their Ogaden problem is their problem with Ethiopia. As a matter of fact, OLNF never wanted to be seceded from Ethiopia. They simply wanted to have their people treated as other Ethiopians. And so information I received was that they were not welcome in the Ogaden. You're saying that the Islamic courts are active in... the thing that surprised me is that you can't confirm things that Ethiopia does, but everything else about Eritrea and Somalia, everything is so confirmable. But in your testimony, you can't confirm any incidents are happening in Ethiopia. You can't confirm what's happening in the Ogaden. A recent report, Voice of America reported, in recent weeks, international aid agencies have accused Ethiopia of denying humanitarian access to the region, where civilian casualties are said to be heavy. The rebels said that government troops are imposing an economic blockade, creating a man-made famine. The Ethiopian government denies that, but I'm confused. The Doctors Without Borders have been eliminated. The UN cannot go in the region, but everything is unconfirmed as to what Ethiopia is doing, but so strongly confirmed as it relates to Eritrea, Somalia, ICU, groups that operated 20 years ago. And so I'm just confused about the lack of any kind of affirmation that the government of Ethiopia is doing one thing wrong.
I think if you read my testimony, to take place between the Ogaden and Somalia. That's in my statement. I think that says it has happened. What I have found is that there's reasons for things happening. Some of them good, some of them bad. Most of them we have to work on. But I think that you will find in the testimony that I just stated affirmative facts about what the Ethiopian government has done, affirmative facts about what the Eritrean government has done, and where we have allegations. I was also very clear to say ONLF members. I'm not saying the ONLF as an organization has taken a decision to cooperate with these remnants of the courts, Al-Shabaab. What I said was ONLF members have done so. They go in and out of Somalia, and certainly the Al-Shabaab is also trying to take advantage of the situation in the Ogaden. It is very clear that the Ethiopian government has supported the ONLF. That is not an allegation. That is a statement of fact. So where we don't have confirmation of fact, I say allegation. And certainly we will try to follow up to confirm all of it.
Now, you said the Ogaden needs a political solution. Have you met with Ogaden people? It was clear that you didn't mean ONLF.
I meant Eritrea. Thank you.
No question about it.
Thank you, sir.
I caught it, and that's why I didn't mention it, because I know what you meant.
Yes, thank you.
But the Ogaden, what has the administration done to try to assist in a political solution? Have you met with the Ogaden, the ONLF people at all? Have there been any kind of, in Sudan, when the North-South Civil War went on for 20 years, it was the U.S. that took an initiative to have the talks where they would try to have talks between the factions. The ONLF have indicated that they want to be a part of Ethiopia, and they're willing to have negotiations. However, no one seems to be interested in a dialogue. Have you had any? I met with the head of the ONLF right here in Washington a week ago. Has there been any movement on the part of the administration to try to come up with a solution?
Yes, there has been. We have encouraged the ONLF to renounce violence. We've encouraged them to try to take their concerns about the Ogaden through political dialogue, but they have not yet done so. And so we think that it's extremely important.
But they tell me they're willing to do that, and I wonder if your great officers are willing to intercede in that.
Well, absolutely, and ONLF members have met with people at the Bureau. I have certainly met with political leaders in Ethiopia who represent the Ogaden region. They may not be ONLF. ONLF is not the voice of the Ogaden region. It's one voice, but it's not the sole voice. It is an organization that has killed international workers in terms of planting landmines.
All right, about time spending, but is that we supported the warlords, gave them weapons, gave them money when the accused bombers were there in Somalia. I mean, yes, in Somalia, when these warlords controlled Somalia. And so if we want to start giving examples of people we supported, the same ones that brought the Black Hawk down and killed our Rangers back years ago, the U.S. government decides that we will support them, even in fact, and in spite of the fact that we knew that these persons accused of the embassy bombings were there in cozy with the warlords that we supported. So when we bring out Ted Gagné and something that he said, I think if we want to get into a debate, and maybe we need to have one at some time where we have more time, because there is a counterbalance for every question and every instance that you use. I could give 5 others of something that makes it even worse. With that, I yield to the ranking member, and I would just hope that, well, I'll get to that later. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Secretary Frazer, welcome to